Hello, everyone, and as always, welcome back to Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we find, learn, and play one more turn of the great strategy games. And today we're going to continue with our PBEM challenge. When I left you last time, we were looking at the trade agreements. So the way I like to approach a turn is I go to Combat Log. Then I go to deployment and I just kind of move right to left down these icons here. It's the different things you can do in the game. These icons over here are different things you can put on the map to see different information. But these are the real game functions, how you control the allies. Okay, so when I left you last time, we had put 10 escorts, which is really the maximum to do any good. You can't, if you go to 11, it doesn't matter. 10 is the max. We put 10 in the Indian Ocean, 10 in the South Pacific. Those are going to be our two main convoy lines. Bay of Bengal really goes into Rangoon, but we are going to get our troops out of Rangoon this turn. And so you can see over here if there's an active convoy in this lane. Same with South China Sea and Indonesia. The Brits just are not going to be active in these convoy lanes after this turn. They are initially, but once Hong Kong falls, for instance, once the British bases on the northern part of Borneo fall, they will no longer be in these convoy lanes. It will be only these two. And the Brits do have a little bit into South Pacific because they're sending a little bit. If we go over here, out to New Zealand, and that's the South Pacific convoy lane. The U.S. is obviously sending a lot through the South Pacific from the West Coast to Australia, and so the U.S. has got, all 10 of these escorts are U.S. ones. If we click over here to the U.S., you can see it shows you it's 10 right here that the U.S. is contributing. If we go over here, 10 right here, that's what the UK is contributing to the Indian Ocean. So we're going to have the Brits handle the Indian Ocean, the Americans handle the South Pacific. Again, 10 is kind of the max, but ultimately these are even too many because you only need one escort ship per 5 points that you're sending out. And if you see here right now in India, I changed this to 12 and 1 for production. Really, they would only need 3 escort ships, but it's going to be more and more. So I'm just going to throw 10 in there for now. It's fine. They're sending 5 to New Zealand. Meanwhile, the US is sending 3 to New Zealand. So that's 8 total going to New Zealand, plus 35 more. So it's 43. The US, or you would really need to have like 9 escort ships to cover that. We're just going to put in 10. Okay, so that's trade and escorts. Now let's go to the build queue, which is, arguably the most important queue in the game. I'd say arguably, it definitely is. This is where you start to build your units. It's also where you decide on your reinforcement and upgrade level. Now, I've gone back and forth on reinforcement and upgrade. You obviously already have a lot of counters on the map, and most of those are very under strength at the start of the game. And so, do you bump those up and really try to make those better, or do you focus on building new units that roll off the presses, at full strength? Well, the problem, or I guess one way to think about it is reinforcement and upgrade costs less, meaning, when you build a new unit, and we'll see here just an infantry division for the UK. If we build a division, and you can name it any of these things, just pick one, or you can name it yourself. You can also do the advancement level. Now, I think most of the time you're always going to do the maximum advancement level, but if you're a little short on production points down here, you can see the 1939 infantry division that's an assault division. And remember, assault and anti-tank with our advancements. Now, the Brits were always going to build, that not always. I think we made this, hold on. Let's go back to our advancements really fast. UK, oh, we're actually going to build more assault. Right, okay, so it's a 5 and a 4. The UK has a little bit of both at the start. But when we build new ones, we're putting our research into assault. So just keep that in mind. So down here, they would build assault, or I would build assault, generally speaking. Now, if we need a really defensive unit for some reason, we may switch over to anti-tank. As you can see, early on here, there's not a huge difference. Anti-tank just has a better defense, but as we get into 43, 44, 45, they start to differentiate. So just keep that in mind. Um, the but the point is, let's just say we were going to build an assault. 78 production is what it would cost. 10 in logistics, 10 in manpower. We'll get into this other stuff in the future. But if we instead decided we wanted to reinforce and upgrade an assault, a 42 assault division, it wouldn't cost 78. Let's just say it started at 0. Now that's impossible, but let's just say it did. If we tried to build that up to a full strength unit, it would only cost like 60 production. So you get a bonus by reinforcing and upgrading, or let's put it this way, you don't get a penalty. How about that for building a new unit? When you reinforce and upgrade your old units, it costs less production. So just something to keep in mind. Now, how much do we bump this up? I like to keep it at about 50%. I do about 50-50 because we do need to build new units, but you really, like I said, you just have an advantage building up your already existing units. And right at the start, they need a lot of points. I mean, they all start at like 5 of 10 strength points, and they start off in many cases not upgraded to their maximum. So I do about half. About half. Okay, we've got 64 in our stockpile right now. Well, what could we build with that? Well, we can't. We can see the cheapest thing really is your infantry division. You've got these other kind of specialized troops. It costs 78. We've only got 64 in our stock, and this is the number to look at, the stockpile for all of these numbers. Um, Logistics, you can only support up to 490 points of logistics right now. This is an overall score that's counting down with everything you choose to build. So let's say we did build this unit. It's going to take 10 off this logistics score, and we'll only have 130 left in our stockpile. Uh, we'll go to 0 if we build units that add up to a logistics of 490. It's not like you spend those one time and that's that. It's an overall continuous score that continues going on in the game. It's just a governor that keeps you from just spamming units and building, way too many units. You've only got a certain amount of logistics network. Now, production and manpower, on the other hand, um, is a little different, but production is a one-time cost. If you spend this 78, it comes out 78 if you've got it, and that's it. It's a one-time cost. Um, Manpower also clicks down sort of like logistics, but we'll get into that some other time. 35, so they can't build, any new Army units. Navy units are even more expensive. Now, the cheapest thing is a submarine. Usually these go from cheapest to most expensive. Destroyer 234. You can see we're quite a ways away from that. 351. If we wanted to build a carrier, 576. And so, you really get into some really expensive stuff out here. Air Force, same idea. Air Force is very expensive. Air superiority, ground attack, tactical, strategic group. You can go through here. We'll click them over to 42. Um, they just cost a lot. And so keep that in mind. You can see even the 1939 Air Superiority Group, which isn't nearly as good when you look at the stats as, a 42. A 42 has 10 in air combat. A 39 has an 8. So even then it's 250 points. Now, your cheapest things that you've got are support, uh, transport. We are going to need more transports and we need to start building them right from the start. Unfortunately, we don't have enough to build one this turn. Landing ships, we don't need those yet. We're going to need them, but we don't need them yet. And you can see these support pools over here. You've got to build this stuff, all right? You have supply oilers, you have supply trucks, so on and so forth. The only thing we really, I think, could build this time is a new escort. Well, we've got enough. We only need 10 for our Indian convoy lane, and we've got 12 escorts. So we put 10 in there. We've got 2 left over. We're okay there. Merch Marines, important for the U.S. to build these up. The UK starts with a ton of Merchant Marines, 105. We're only using 58. Okay, so with escorts and Merch Marines, we're in good shape. Anti-air. I'm going to have the Americans build some of this and redeploy some of theirs. But the UK, I mean, we could build 1 or 2 of these, and we may over the first few turns. But you could put them in towns or at bases, I guess, and to protect those if you don't have enough air assets early in the game. You know what? I am actually maybe going to, let's build 1 of these because I want to put 1 in at Calcutta. Okay. So we're going to build that. Now the one I'm going to put in at Calcutta is probably an American one, but we want to replace that one. So we'll have the Brits build one. They've got 49 in their stockpile. We'll be doing a lot of reinforcement. Okay. Let's go to the US. Now, this is where a lot of the action happens, as you might imagine. We need to build right off the top transports. But first of all, let's go up to about 50% here because the Americans have a lot of units that need to get reinforced and upgrade. Now you'll see that does not immediately take off from our stockpile. This will show up in the upkeep when we hit next turn. When this pops up for us next time, it'll say somewhere around 178. For upkeep. So this doesn't immediately take it out of your stockpile. It doesn't happen until the end of the turn. We do need to build transports, so let's click off 100. All right. We've still got 198 in our stockpile. I generally like to build more merchant marines right off the top because the US can get a lot of stuff out to Australia, which is very important, and other places later on. They're constrained by their merchant marines. You see, we've only got 42. Now it says in use 4, but we just did those new trade agreements that were 38. So they'll be using all of their merch marines. Let's go ahead. It takes 6 months for these to build, so it takes a little while. All right, merchant marine built. And so we've got those going. So we immediately get the support going for the US. We get the reinforcements going for the units they have on the map. And what else do we want to do? Well, let's go over here and do an assault infantry division. I don't want it to be called a garrison, dang it. Let's do 37th Division. As you can see, this costs 72. We've got 98 in our stockpile. We got to start building units right off the top. Now, what's the difference here? Infantry division is obviously 1 division. An infantry corps small is essentially 2 divisions. An infantry corps large is 3 divisions. And as you'll see here in a minute, we're going to start breaking up these infantry corps, excuse me, into individual divisions. All right. You can do that. You can break these down and you can build them back up if you want to. So just keep that in mind. We will be building some Marines. You see here you have specialized mountain corps, paratrooper corps, mech, and armor. So you've got, an armor costs 432, but it's tough as hell if you get it out there, and if you get it rolling somewhere, it's going to be really tough to beat. But for the most part, we're going to be building infantry divisions and infantry corps smalls that we'll then break up into divisions. That's just how the Pacific works. These big infantry corps, large, it's hard to find places to get them on. You don't put them on little atolls. You put divisions there. The Marines also very important. Marines do not take a penalty when they land on a beach, and so just keep that in mind. Okay, so we're going to go up here to infantry division. We'll call it the 37th. We'll make it assault, and we'll purchase that. The Soviet Union, they do not really have enough here. We'll just bump up their reinforcement and upgrade to 10 in case they have something they want to reinforce or upgrade because they don't really matter in the game that much. China, we've got the same issues that we do in other places. They've got a lot of units already, and a lot of those units are under strength. And so we're going to bump that even a little past sort of the 50% of production that you're doing each turn will have a vast majority, well, I say vast majority, over half of that go go to reinforcements and upgrades. As you can see in their stockpile, they don't really have enough to build a unit, but we will go out here and give them a supply truck. These supply trucks, they show up as little things on the unit counters. You can call it in and it'll come in and give you supply. Very important to do out in China. Um, who do we have next? The Australians. Well, as you can see, the Australians don't have enough to do anything. Now, they already have a lot of units on the map. We're going to use all of their production points. Now, remember, though, the U.S. is going to be sending them like 35 production points in trade. And that goes to show you how important those trade routes are. Australia produces 9. It gets like 35 from the US because of that trade agreement that we sent it. So, almost 4 times what they're actually producing comes from the US. For the first turn, we're going to reinforce upgrade kind of to its max. Don't be confused by the fact that this will only let you do it in tens. Um, if it's set at 13 and they only produce 9, it will only go to 9. That's it. It can't go above 9 or what they produce in a turn. And so don't be confused by that. They don't have enough to, build anything else. We move on. The Canadians sitting over there, sipping maple syrup, hanging out, having a good time. Nothing we can do with the damn Canadians. Communist China, the commie share. We're going to reinforce and upgrade if we can. Now their units start out in pretty good shape, but they're producing 12. We'll use all of that if we can for reinforcements and upgrades. They're not going to, they've got like 3 units at the start. We may eventually build another one, but really, you want to build up what they've already got. Dutch East Indies, these will be gone next turn. The Dutch East Indies will be no more. It will be Japanese territory. We go out to India, and India is kind of the same as China. It's got a lot of units already. They've got to be built up. And so actually I'm going to use all of it in India. I'm even tempted to do that in China and go straight to the top. As a matter of fact, let's just do it. Let's just have China and India, which are your two kind of proxy fighters, right? You've got your major powers, the US and the UK. It's going to take them forever to build up. They don't even get transports until March. Your proxy fighters on the ground are China and India. You've got to build up their forces as fast and the best as that you can. So let's just have it all go in there for now. Now we're also, India is producing 29. The Brits are also sending them, some. So they will build up their stockpile, even though we're using all of their kind of organic production for reinforcements and upgrades. The Kiwis, what the hell are the Kiwis doing? Well, they're getting some from the US and the UK. We'll bump that actually up to an 11. I want anything they produce to go to reinforce and upgrade, especially the air unit that they have, because that one is quite helpful. Philippines, not going to matter. They're going to get blown out here very quickly. We'll just put that to reinforcement and upgrade, but it doesn't matter. They're not going to hold on for much more than another turn. Okay, so that's the build queue. That is the build queue, and when we hit next turn is when all of that stuff goes into effect. So let's start on, well, you know what? Let's actually start over in India. And as you can see over here, you've got European resources that will be doing production, will be giving you production. Um, you've got some oh, I guess these are actually maybe Soviet. Yeah, these are Soviet ones. So this is all Soviet supply that they're getting out of their European, over in Moscow, over in St. Petersburg and whatnot. And this is being shifted out here east. So that's Soviet Union. And then we get down into, you can see the border right here. We get down into China. We've got this, well, Mongolia and China. We've got this out here. This is actually Mongolia, and you can see Mongolia even has a unit. Hey, go Mongolians. Um, that is not Attila out there, let me tell you. Then, as we get into China, these are the communist Chinese. These are the red Chinese units. As I said, they've only got 3. They do have a very important supply source here in Lanchao, though, and we will be using the red Chinese to protect Lanchao. All right. Then you see the other Chinese forces. We'll go into all that. Then let's start with India, though. Okay, so India has got the towns up here. We've got get right in here, get off of supply. Lahore is giving you 1 point of manpower. If we take the units off, you can kind of see Delhi is 10 production, Lucknow is 5. This is what they're adding to India's production each turn. All right. Now, if we turn back on supply, though, or logistics, you see the three beyond important towns in India: Bombay, Delhi, and Calcutta. You've got to try to hold on to those main supply sources. You can see these nines that come out of here. This is the level of supply from basically 0 to 10 or 0 to 9 that you have, or a unit in that hex has. Well, that all starts from the main supply sources. All right. And once they move out into regular tiles here, you can see it goes down the further we get away from that supply source. But rail kind of negates that. If rail is hooked up to anything that's a 9, it also is a 9. So you can see how important rail is here, right? If we just trace this rail around, it's hooked up to a national supply source, and so it's got a 9. But it comes to a 9 here, then all of a sudden, based on the terrain, we get out here and you start seeing 5s. Let's try to find even a better example of that. Someplace that's even further away. Well, I guess China's the ultimate place to show that. You can see here, we've got Changsha. That's a main supply source. They will always show up in this kind of yellowish green color. And then you can see this is a road. That is not rail, that is road, but it carries supply better. If this was not a road, or if this did not have a road, this would be a 7. But because it has a road, it's an 8. And it continues an 8. And then down to see it goes away a little slower. Now, you may say, how did that pop up to an 8? Well, it's getting its from Chongqing on a road, right? But let's go out this way. Chongqing goes here. Now it clicks down from a 9 to an 8. This is a 9. You can't see it here, but you can see it down to the bottom left. You see the port size, then you see the supply size. It's a 9, okay? That's the best it can be. 8. Then we get out here into the hinterlands. It goes down very quickly. We're in a forest. That's a 5. There are no roads here. Another forest, no roads. A 2. Another forest, down to a 1, and then a 1. Now you can see this connects by some rail to other, hexes that have like a 5. So it goes 5, 4, 3 down this rail. Um, 433, there's a road here. So it goes down to more slowly where there's a road or there's rail. But if this rail connects directly to a 9, and here the Japanese have cut this, then it would also be a 9. Just something to keep track of. All right, let's go over to India and get off of supply. All right. And let's put our units back out on the map because they are important. And as you can see, we have some units in a garrison mode. We will want to get rid of that if we can. We also have an Indian unit down here in Singapore. Unfortunately, we cannot take that off garrison mode. It will fight at 50% effectiveness. It's the game's way of essentially giving the Japanese Singapore. Okay. Rangoon, we have someone in garrison status. We really need to change that to active. Now, one of the disadvantages of going to active, though, is that you can't move. Yeah, once it switches, you can't move. So if we turn this to active, that uses up its operation points. So instead, I believe what we need to do, we could either bring this unit down here and block and try to get this brigade out of here. All right, we could potentially do that, or we could just move this brigade up here. Now, what my strategy always is to drop everything back to Calcutta and to absolutely turtle up in Calcutta, and just try to hold on until the British get here. Okay, that's how I play it. Now, the best way to go about this, though, we could go up here. All right, again, we could change this to active. it's only a brigade, and so we may, I always go back and forth about this. You can bring this down and protect this unit because you can actually get behind a river, which is very hard. It's very good to defend here, and you can try to protect this unit coming out. But this is a very strong unit. It's a 2, its effectiveness. It's a full division at 10 strength. If you look at most of these, they're 5 of 10. That one's 10 of 10. That one's 10 of 10. This one's 3 of 10. 3 of 10. You've got some real units that don't have much. All right, so we're going to try to, let's just turn him active and we'll let him sit here for a turn and we'll see what the Japanese are up to. This unit we're going to try to get back and around this way. We're essentially going to cede this territory. Even though it's got 4 oil here, we're just going to give it up and we're going to get back around here to Calcutta and try to get entrenched and dug in. This unit, we're also going to get out of here as fast as we can. We really need to set it to an active status though. I always go back and forth on this one too, whether to go active first or move it first. Um, they can't really get to us here. We could go active next turn, or we could just get it over. Let's just get it over with. We're going to go active, and you can see now it gives us the NATO symbol. This unit, again, we're going to go active, and we'll eventually move this back. At Dhaka, we're going to go active. At Calcutta, we're going to go active. So we're actually spending points here as we turn them back to active, but we really have no choice. We need to get these units active. Now, the one at Madras already is active. It's a strong unit. But it's only, no, it's not actually strong. I'm sorry, I misspoke. It's 3 of 10 here, so we need to build that up. Now, this is where you go into deciding who do you need to build up the fastest? Because we can give it supply or priority reinforcements. So we've got 10 of 10, 10 of 10. This is 5 of 10. Okay. We'll wait and see if we can get that out of Rangoon before we do anything. 10 of 10. Those are all good. These are the guys we need priority. And you'll see the little plus go there. Let's plus the one in Calcutta because they also need priority. This in Madras is 3 of 10. Now, you can't prioritize everything or it kind of defeats the purpose, but we had 3 out there that were pretty good. Let's also turn this unit. Now, we don't have enough save production to convert this to normal. That's fine. We will change it over here momentarily. We're going to actually rail this unit, though. And if you look at the unit card, rail move. Okay, we're going to rail this over to here. I like to get into these towns that have port supply. And what do I mean by, well, that one does not. But where I want to protect the rail line out of Calcutta. But port supply are these ones that light up kind of a bluish color, which means they are actually getting supply from the UK into this port. And that's what you see on this convoy screen, UK. If you see, everything in green here is what it's getting in from its colonies and otherwise, and everything in red is what it's sending out in supply. As you can see, it's supplying Colombo up to 120. Rabul, it's up to 160. So it's giving these places supply. So even though they're not quote unquote main supply sources, they are supply sources. And that's why they show as a 9 because they're getting that outside British supply. Okay. So this unit up here in Bombay, we're going to rail it. I'm going to rail it over to here. Next turn, we will get this active. We also want to put this, because it's a 3 of 10, on priority replacements. And when this goes to India's reinforcement and upgrade, that's what this number is going to be doing, is giving that strength points and upgrading it to the next level. If, let's say it's a 1940 assault, it'll be trying to get it to a 1942 assault, and that does cost production points. Okay, so we're out of Bombay. Oh no, well, you cannot lose Bombay. So what do? Let's take the British headquarters down to Bombay. The Brits have nobody to command on turn one. I mean, there's no British units up here, right? It's got to be within 5 hexes of the command to give it command bonuses. There's no British units, and so there's nothing for it to do. These headquarters, don't think of them as only commanders, though. They also are very good on the defense themselves. And if I take this off here, you can't really see it as well now, but this is a 2 combat effectiveness, right? That's the same as your infantry units. All right, so if you look at this headquarters unit and we go and we've already got it on here, it's got firearms, guns, artillery, anti-air. It's a 5 defense. It's as good as this infantry unit. So you can and do use these as infantry units. Just keep that in mind. Okay. Um, so this one's 3 of 10. We've got it on priority. We've moved the Brits down here. We also have an Indian command, and let's get this. I can't remember if I can move this on the rail or not. Yeah, we can't right off the start. So let's click it back here. Could I do it if I moved into Delhi? Let's see. You can always undo a move if you haven't gone next to um, enemy troops. Okay, let's just get this moving south then, because this is where all the Indian troops are going to be. We want to give that as much bonus as we can. So let's just go there. That's the maximum amount it can move. So now the Indian command is on its way to help beef up Calcutta. We'll actually put it directly in Calcutta and use it for this good defense it has. Also, if you look on the counters, you can see how many movement points do you have left? 0, 0, 0. That's how you can tell if you can move them anymore. Okay, we've also got this unit in Delhi. Now, this unit is actually an infantry corps large, and so it's 3 divisions. All right, let's break that up because we've got a lot of places to cover. We need to probably come down here and cover maybe Mangalore. It's got a port, all right. Hyderabad, it's in centrally located, but it gives us nice production. We maybe want to send some of this down to Calcutta as well. I've even before taken this infantry corps large and had that be what sits directly in Calcutta. It makes it very hard for the Japanese to take that, and that may be what we do this time, and rail some of these other things other places for the protection for our protection. You may say, well, you got to protect Delhi. Fair enough, but Delhi's centrally located out here. The Japanese would have to land on a beach somewhere, take a supply source. It's going to take a long time before they would be able to get up here, so I'm not that worried about it. We are going to move this out here, and I believe eventually put it in Calcutta right from the start. It's just very hard to move. Once it gets dug in, it's like a big old turtle. I mean, you're just not going to move it very easily, okay? Um, I can't remember. Garrison status set to active. Okay, we will do that eventually here, but for now, we're going to rail it to right there. Okay, excellent. And we're also going to put that on priority replacements. Excuse me. Here is the air unit. It's an air superiority group. They've got good air combat. We're going to put that on priority, and we're going to fly it down here by Calcutta. It's got a range of 6. Okay, so if we put it here, let's say, how far out would that give us air superiority? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's pretty nice because I'm not expecting to be fighting up here. I'm going to be on the defensive back here. And this kind of gets our air unit a little out of the way. So let's, oh, it doesn't have enough oil. All right, what is that about? You see here, oil use 1. Every time we move it, it's going to take a 1 oil point. As you can see, oil stockpile for India. This up here will always, these are a nation. They're the entire nation. And so if we go over to the British, you'll see Brits have 28 oil. They've got 1 airlift supplies. They've got 0 transports, which is what that is. They've got 0 supply trucks. And this is how many rail points they have. And so we can't do anything. We cannot move this by air, but we could move it by rail, which is actually what we're going to do, and move it right up here. Calcutta is now under its or in its range here, and there are range circles if you want to see exactly how far. We've put this on reinforcements. We're going to pick that it's going to automatically bomb armies if we pick. Now this is mission only. This means it will only fly missions you give it, meaning when it's our turn next time, we could, and let's say a Japanese unit was within its range, we could bomb that Japanese unit. Um, but it will only do that. Instead, we're going to put it on full support, which is almost like you've put it on automatic or you've put it a little bit under AI control, meaning if the Japanese move in here with a ground unit, the game may decide to bomb it. So this is kind of like turning it over to the AI. You can automate this, all right? So that's full support. Those are the only two, mission only or full support. So we've now moved that. We've moved our headquarters. It's coming down here. We've got our big, big old unit here. We're going to put it back in Calcutta and we're going to, start building that up the best we can. We'll let it dig in there. Then we've got to turn it to active status. Do not forget, next time we'll turn this one to active. The time after that, we'll turn this one to active. Garrison saves you on production and supply, but if you think these things even have a chance of getting in combat, you've got to get them over to active mode as soon as possible. Okay, they've also got units down here in Colombo. This is not very strong. It's 3 of 10. We'll put that on priority. And then up here at Jatna, this unit is in garrison status, I believe. But again, we don't have enough production to convert this because it does pull down 1 turn's worth of production when you go active. And so we just don't have enough to do that yet. That one will also go on priority. Actually, I'm going to leave that one off. We don't want too many of these. There are certain units that you certainly want to build up. The garrison at Jatna is not top of the list. Okay, right. So we've done all of this with our Indian units. Let's back up a little bit. We're going to try to get the heck out of Rangoon and save that brigade. We've looked at the land units down here. That leaves us with the British on Ceylon. And what are we going to do here? Well, let's look and see what we've got. We've got a cruiser squadron. What are cruisers good for? Well, really, they're good for going out with your carriers. All right, or they can be part of surface task forces that include battleships if you think you're going to do a bombardment or get into surface combat on the sea. Or they can also do some anti-submarine. They're not great. And how does that work? Well, you got to put them out on the convoy line. And when they're on the convoy line, they will help your escorts. Now, it's your escorts that will actually fight the submarines, but when they're out here, they will actually help within a 24 hex radius, which means 12 hexes on either side. So I'm going to move him kind of to the extent that I can with 1 operation point. He'll be right there. Always make sure if you want them to be doing something, they're on fleet mode. We do want them helping our escorts out here if there are any Japanese subs, because you can't attack the subs directly. It's only your escorts that can do that. So we're going to move him out here and let him just kind of, help the escorts by being on the convoy lane. If there is a submarine within 12 or 12 of him, he'll help. Along those same lines, we've also got the Exeter over here. So we'll get off the other two, the Revenge and the Hermes. They're going to sit in port. They're really not going to do a whole lot. And we'll put this guy right out here. All right. He's on fleet mode. You can either be on fleet or raider. If you change this to raider, that's like stealth mode. Think of it as stealth mode. They're not really going to get it. They're going to try to avoid combat. They're not going to really do the tasks that you would normally think of them of doing. um, they're going to really try to hide. It's an easy way to move your naval units if you just want them to get away, which is what we'll be doing very soon. Don't worry. Um, so we still have the Hermes and the Revenge. We're not going to do anything with them. They're going to sit in port and just hang out for a very long time. You don't have a whole lot to do with them. Continuing on with the Brits, they also have their East African bases down here. Hey, let's take this unit and get up here to help. Nope, you can't. Why can't you? You have no transports. And when you do have transports, you'll see them show up here and it'll say embark on transports. And this will immediately turn into a ship looking item like a task force. And then you can move that to where you want it to go. But right now, until March, the UK has no transports. They have to just sit here and wait. There's nothing to do at the UK African bases. We could turn this down, as a matter of fact, to garrison, but I don't like to do it here just in case the Japanese player gets a little crazy and wants to come over here and take you on. I essentially keep that, active, the one of them over there. Now, Colombo's at garrison, Jatna's at garrison. We'll leave it that way for a turn. Well, we can't even switch them if we wanted to. I usually turn Colombo active or hot. Um, Unfortunately, now we move into the Dutch East Indies. We'll come back up to China. Probably, well, we'll come back up to China here in a little. All right, so on to the Dutch East Indies. What do we got going on here? Well, let's try to zoom. Can we zoom? Zoom, zoom. There we go. There we go. Um, We've got this garrison at Kwanton. There is essentially nowhere for it to go. It is a dead man walking, unfortunately. We will lose that counter. Let's take this off and let's take enemy action off. There we go. Now we can see it a little better. We've got this garrison here. It will be no more. We've got the garrison at Singapore. It is an infantry corps small, so it's got a strength of 20 instead of the 10 that divisions have. This is essentially 2 divisions. But it's got nowhere to go. It can't turn, to active. The game will not allow it, and you can't put it on transports. There are no transports to transport, and so it's doomed. It's doomed. Same with this Dutch unit up in Sumatra at Medan. We can try to move it down here, but ultimately, once Singapore falls and Batavia falls, this will just go away. The Dutch will surrender. There's nothing more, that can be done. That unit just goes away. Now, what ships do we have here still floating about at Singapore? Well, as you can see, the Repulse has bottomed, and it doesn't even give us the option to move it. The Repulse will be gone, but we still have the Prince of Wales, all right? And we also have this 11th Destroyer Flotilla. We're going to get them the heck out of here. Now you can see one operation point gets us here. The way the game works, though, is it'll show you how far it can go with 2 operation points, which is how many you have, generally speaking, at the start of each turn. We're going to bring this all the way into Colombo. We'll right-click, and there it comes. And now, if we look at our ships here, we've got the Hermes, the Revenge, which we already had here, and now the Prince of Wales and the 11th Destroyer Flotilla are now out here ready. Well, they're not ready to do anything. When they come, task forces come into a port, they gray out, meaning you can't move them again. Even if you had an operation point, which we don't, but even if we did, we would not be able to move them again. Now, as you can see, the poor old Repulse is just bottomed here at Singapore. When they take Singapore by land, the Repulse will be no more. Now, what's happening down here? If we can hold on to Batavia a little bit, that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. This unit, let's see if we can set it to active. Yeah, the Dutch don't have enough production at the start to turn any of their units active, and so it's just going to be in garrison mode. There's nothing we can do about that. We could try to set this to active. Now, if this continues for one more turn, I believe, so if they can't get down here and take this unit on this turn, he would be able to go active, which would allow us to hang on a little bit. Now, we do have this plane unit here. What is this? It's an air superiority group, but we could try to bomb with it if we flip over here to bomb naval, all right? So we could try to airstrike here. Why don't we click on this and actually see what we have? It's a destroyer group. Okay. We could also try to hit this sub. That's not a terrible idea. Why don't we try to hit the sub? Because you cannot attack them with naval units, but you can try to attack them by air. And let's go out here and do it. We'll right click on it. And we did. We gave it 1 damage, so that's excellent. And now we've got a second airstrike, and we hit it again. So we've given it 2 points of damage out here. Excellent, excellent for a unit that really is doomed. The minute the Dutch give up, that counter goes away, and so that was very helpful. Okay, excellent. I'll take it. Uh, Here we have the Deroiter Flotilla. The Deroiter is showing as a British ship, but it's really historically was a Dutch ship, but they allow you to keep it as the British. Everything British naval we take to Colombo. There we go. So now we've got the Deroiter in here, and that gives us a light cruiser flotilla. All right. So now we've got a destroyer flotilla, a light cruiser flotilla, a battleship. We've got a cruiser here and a cruiser down there. Looking good. We're starting to pick it up a little bit here, get some of our units out, get them to safety so that we can rebuild. We've also damaged that sub a little bit, so that's excellent. There's nothing else we can do with these Dutch units. As I said, they're just done for. Let's go look at the Philippines, which will be next. We'll do China last. There's a lot going on in China. U.S. Philippine Division, it's already active. Okay, they start off active. They're doubly entrenched as well, which is very good. We have the Skipjack and the Pike, which are two submarine squadrons. We need to get them the hell out of here. Okay? And so you'll notice that counters can go over counters. It's not like we go through this and we take any damage. Counters can go through counters. Now, where do we want to put these two guys? Well, they've got 8 supply. These are long range subs. If we click on the Pike, it's got 2 surface, 6 defense, a 3 range for its attack. It uses 1 oil, okay, but it's got 8 days of, or 8 turns, not 8 days, 8 turns of supply. So we can immediately, use this to help us try to take out some of these places where he's landing. We could try to do that. We could try to attack, some of these landing craft, which would really hurt him. He's got 1 ship in the area here with Marines. We could try to hit that. He's got 1 ship in the area there, and he's got 3 ships with no carriers, no battleships, and transports. This is probably cruisers and destroyers. This 1 ship, who knows? This is like a transport ship. We may go try to hit that. Um, and how would we go about doing that? Well, you got to make sure you're in fleet mode. Now, usually you want your subs in raider mode. Now, the problem down here is it's going to use both of our operation points to get down here. So we wouldn't even be able to do an attack if we could get right here, but we will have used up both of our operation points. So really what we need to do is take both of these and we'll put them in raider mode. Not that it really matters. We're going to be putting them in a port. I just don't want to forget later, which has happened and it is very costly. Let's go put them in Townsville. All right. Townsville is a level 4 port. You cannot repair from here, but it can give these supply up to 4 naval groups of supply since it's a level 4 port. To repair, we have to go into Sydney. Now, luckily, these did not really get damaged. They both 3 of 3 strength. Okay, so they're good. So we moved the subs down there. We also have an air unit that I try like hell to get out of the Philippines if we can. Now, what we have to hope is that the Dutch hold on. All right, and we're going to take this unit and we're going to fly it to Manado. And once we get there, we can't take it any. Well, that's not true. We can take it to Makassar. Makassar, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10. It won't let us, but this is going much further than 10. It shows its range is 10, but it's not, that's an operational range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, this can get out of here, I believe. We can't take it to Dilley, but we can take it all the way to Macassar. That's excellent if we can get this out of here. Right. Okay. Let's also put this on priority repairs. It's only at 5 of 10 right now, 5 of 20 strength. So we want that to be on I'm just trying to make sure I can't take this any further. I think he's made a bit of a mistake here, allowing us to get this air unit out. Yeah, we're going to go to Macassar. We're going to keep him on mission only, so he's not trying to attack anything. He's got, only 5 strength points. If we can hold on to Batavia for this one more turn, um, we can get him out, and that is great because those cost like 350 production points. So we're going to get him out, I hope. This unit is active. This unit is active. This unit is active. That's all we can do. Now, he's been kicked out of Lingayen, and this unit is just snuggled up in here. It's doubly entrenched. We should be able to hold on for one more turn, but that's about it. That's about it. The other thing you could have done with that air unit is you could also try to hit one of these. Now, he's got a carrier up here, 1 CV, and 3 battleships in that unit, and he's got a battle group here plus some other things. So he's got a lot of firepower up here. All right, well, this makes me happy. We may get out to Macassar. That's excellent. Now then, Australia. Well, we need a unit in Perth, so we're going to keep that in Perth. I'm going to keep it active because if the Japanese do come down here, by the time they get down here, it's too late usually to get him active. Is that true though? I say something that I'm like, well, sometimes I don't always do that. Let's actually set him to garrison. Perth is usually pretty last on the priorities because it's not a main supply source, so the Japanese aren't nearly as interested in it. Okay, let's go look at our other Aussie units in Brisbane. We've got an infantry corps large. We're going to break that up into 3 divisions. All right. So this unit was already here. He's now a 4 of 10. We need to put him on priority replacement. This one's a 7 of 10. That's great. We're going to rail him. So we'll go rail and we'll put him in let's put him in Townsville. Townsville is a very nice spot for the Japanese to try to land and invade. So we'll put him there. We'll keep the one that was already in Brisbane, and we'll take the other one and let's rail that one up to Carnes. And so now we're trying to protect up against these northern routes, okay? In Sydney, what the heck do we have going on in Sydney? We only have an infantry division here. It's a 10 of 10. You kind of want to leave that in Sydney, but I say that we've also got Australian Command out here. Australian Command we're going to leave in Canberra though. This is the most important place in Australia is Canberra. So we're going to leave this division here. He'll stay active just in case. Brisbane, we could probably garrison, but I'm going to keep that there. And then in Melbourne, we also have an infantry corps large. We're going to break that up into 3s, okay? Where else do we need to go? Well, you see here, we've got Rockhampton. That's another landing spot where the Japanese could potentially resupply themselves. They've got a port here. And so we'll take one of these, this guy, let's say, he's only a 2 of 10. Man, that hurts. We're going to rail him up to Rockhampton. All right. And we're going to take this other unit that's a 5 of, so that's a 5 of 10 and a 3 of 10. Wow. Let's try to get priority reinforcements on both of those. We're going to take this guy, we're going to rail him, and we're going to take him to Darwin. And Darwin is all the way up here, as you see. So we're going to put him through on the rail, and you can see where they can move by rail, and we're going to right click, come out here and move. I don't know which one's actually closer. Is it closer to go here? Let's count. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 15. Okay, well, it's better to come out here to Alice Springs. So we're going to right click. He's there, and he'll now, the rail only advances to the central part of Australia here and here. The rest of this way is by road. That's just how it is. That's how it was historically. That's how it is in war in the Pacific as well. The rail only extends out here in the outback to Alice Springs. So we've moved all of them. Let's just make sure we've still got a division here at Melbourne. We'll keep that active. We've got Australian Command there, and now both of these are in command. They're within 5 hexes. We've got this infantry division. Excellent. Now, what do we have here? We have the Canberra Cruiser Squadron. Okay, well, we're going to move him 12 hexes out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He's going to go there. I'm actually going to put him right here to run again to help our escorts if he can. He's on fleet mode, which is what we need. He's going to go right there, the Canberra. Okay. We also have an air unit here, Australian 1st RAF. They're going to be dealing with naval units, right? It's only at a 7 of 20. Let's try to kick that up a little bit. We want it to bomb naval, and we'll put it on full support. So if anything comes out here in a naval fashion, we've got a way to protect it. I want it to be here because if they did bring a carrier down here, they could potentially, bomb our unit, whatever else. Let's get him up in Townsville. Let's get him up and, oh, not enough oil. I always forget that. This unit, the Aussies at the start only have 2 oil. He takes 3 oil use, which is quite a bit. So we're going to have to rail him up here. So we'll rail, and I always go back and forth. Do I go into Cairns, which will protect Moresby? As you can see, it's a range of 10. Actually, I think I will do that. And when we bring things back through here, maybe we'll dock them at Cairns, although Townsville is a bigger port. It's a level 4. This is just a level 2. When it comes to ports, what's important? That 4 means it can resupply 4 naval groups per turn. Two naval groups per turn. Okay, the real dividing line is 5 and above. You can see here Sydney is a 7. That can also repair ships. All right, so if something's a 5 or above, ships can get repaired there. All right, so I think we've moved all of the Australian units. As you can see, we're not very well covered in the north here. We got to get up here to Darwin. That's only got port supply though. The only main supply down here is Canberra, really. Okay, we got somebody. There are other places here the Japanese could land and get port supply, and we'll go try to, cover those up eventually. But for now, these are the important ones. All right, so that's the Aussies. Now we're here at Nomaya. This unit definitely needs priority replacements and reinforcements. Okay, we're also going to wake it up to active because the Japanese may very well get down here very quickly. All right, so we're going to do that. And as we move across here, let's just do New Zealand. Some about that made me laugh. Okay, let's look at what New Zealand has. They have this infantry division here in Auckland. They also have one at Wellington, which we will turn to a garrison status for now. All right. Wellington, though, is actually. Did I want to do that? Let's go back here. Shoot, I already popped off. You probably actually want to do these in reverse because Wellington is the main supply source. Auckland is just port supply. But either way, it's fine. We're not worried about a Japanese invasion right now. Okay, so they're down here, and where else are there Kiwi troops? Well, they're out on Suva, and Suva. This is already on active. We're going to put it on priority repair, and you have a tactical bombing group that we're going to put on bomb naval and also priority repair 5 of 20. Now, one of the big decisions you always make here is, do you take this air unit out of Suva and go put it down here? You can see it can move down to New Zealand. Do you do that, or do you leave it up here to protect Suva? Pro tip, Suva is a level 6 port, which is wildly, or seems to be wildly overpowered for Suva. Being that as it may be, It's incredibly important out here. I mean, it's the only 5 or above level port in all of the Pacific as far as the islands go. And so just keep that in mind. All right, this is a British unit. It's on garrison out here at Tonga. Let's make that go active. At Pago, we need priority reinforcements. It's already in active status. And that's really your islands here. I always talk about more in the Pacific, kind of your Iron Curtain. This is it. Pago, Suva, Tonga to some degree, and Nomaya. Now, a smart Japanese player will get down on Nomaya very, very quickly, as well as Rabaul. Now, let's go look at Rabaul. We have a UK infantry division out here. It's only 1 of 10 strength. It's on garrison status. Let's set it to active, but how much can we do really here? They are going to take that. Now, we'll put it to active to make it a little tougher. But these guys are in bad shape at Rabaul, unfortunately. Moresby, we didn't really look at Moresby. We'll put that on priority repair as well. We now have a little air cover over Moresby. We can bomb any land units. He's going to be on priority. He's on garrison. Let's turn him to active. This will make him a tougher nut to crack. All right. This all is fine. This all looks good. Pago is good. Okay, now we have a Japanese sub out here in our convoy lane. We'll come back to the Hawaiian Islands. There's not a whole lot we're going to do with that this turn until the main Japanese task force gets out of there, gets away from us. Okay, so where are we here on the U.S. West Coast? Well, we have a unit in San Diego. It's a Marine unit, the 2nd Marine. We want to build them up a little faster. Actually, I'm going to take that off. They'll be sitting here till March. They can kind of build at a normal speed. You can see Marines, you cannot change them from active to garrison, or at least this one you can't, so keep that in mind. We have a submarine and we have a destroyer squadron here, okay? First of all, let's talk about the submarine. Let's take this off. You could also do that by hitting here. Select all submarine groups. Submarines can only move with submarines. Okay, so grayling. All right, what do we want the grayling to do? Well, first of all, let's put it in raider mode, so it's in stealth mode. And we're going to go up here and put this through what I call the whirligig. And what does the whirligig do? It pops you out over here by Australia, right here, next turn. And so it's just a very quick, easy way to get from one side of the map to the other. So let's click submarine only, and let's put the grayling through the whirligig. Oh, it's gone! No, it will show up next turn, I promise. All right, next unit is this destroyer squadron. We are going to move him right out here, and we're going to put him on fleet mode. Make sure he's on fleet mode. We're going to move him right out here. And now remember, subs generally have a 3 range for their attacks, so we wouldn't want to put him here. They could have up to a 5, okay? So we wouldn't want to put him here. We're going to put him here. They definitely don't have a 6. And so he's going to go right there and help our escorts. It's got to be within 12 hexes of him. In this case, it is. All right. So great. We've got a destroyer out there helping with the sub squads. 40th Division, they're just going to sit here at LA for a while. We can go ahead and put them on garrison status. They're not going to be moving. We have the 3rd Bomber Group here. It's a tactical bombing group. Hey, I would love to run them out here somewhere. Let's put them through the whirligig. No, we can't. We have no transports. You got to have transports, and they can't fly out here. They don't have enough range. So he's 20 of 20, very strong unit right at the start. We do want this to be on bomb naval and full support. All right. The headquarters, U.S. 1st Army headquarters, commanded by Walter Short. Now, we will be putting MacArthur in here eventually. You just want him either in Santa Barbara or Morro Bay. For now, we can't transport him. We can't put him anywhere. Let's put him where he's going to command the most. That would probably be beautiful Santa Barbara. All right. Now then, San Francisco. We got an infantry corps large here, and we're actually going to split this up into 3. All right, we're going to leave the one that was here. We're going to leave it there. We're going to move one down to Morro Bay, which is the other port in this area, and we're actually going to rail this one up to port land. All right. Am I going to do that, or am I going to leave him here? Maybe I'll leave him here because you also have a infantry corps large up here in Seattle. So let's break those three out. All right. This seems to be the best one. 4 of 10, 4 of 10. All right, we'll put you down in Portland. You can hang out. These units we will put on garrison mode, this one, and I'll move this guy up one and also put him on, oh, I guess I didn't do, well, whatever. He's on garrison. He's now on garrison. You can't change them once they've moved, so he's already moved. This guy down here in San Fran, we'll put on garrison. We'll put him on garrison. This will save us a little bit of production. Not a lot. You can't put headquarters on garrison status. He's there. Okay, this all looks great. Now, what else do we have in San Francisco? We have 2 more destroyer and light cruiser destroyer squadrons. We're going to take this one, and we're also going to move it down here. This would put him, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This would put him also within range of that unit to help. Let's make sure he's on fleet mode. Yeah, he is. Okay. Otherwise, we would need to undo that turn. You've got to change modes for your units before you move them. Always keep that in mind. Then we've got this cruiser destroyer squadron. I want this to just kind of be halfway between LA and San Francisco. It's just going to kind of sit here and make sure nothing wild is going on. Wild. Crazy, crazy stuff. So we already did the land units here. We're going to move this destroyer squadron just out here to protect Seattle and Vancouver. We'll just leave it there so nothing can come up here and land. Essentially, he also would help with any submarine action for the escorts when they fight the submarines. It'll give them a bonus or a bump if he's within 12 hexes of them. The Canadian, oh boy, the Canadians, we're going to set them to garrison mode because of course they're in garrison mode. Now, always remember, you do have a unit up here at Dutch Harbor. Also remember, if someone gets up here, or the Japanese get up here in this hex, and they interdict the harbor, you will not be able to change this to active. So I always set it to active right from the start. The US has enough production, that's fine. Midway, same idea. Turn that to active right away. Johnston Island, we've got nothing on it. Canton Island, same deal. Turn it to active. All right. So that's all of the U.S. forces, I believe. I'll go through these on my own later just to make sure we changed everything that I want over to active. But now let's go up to China. There's big action in big China. There's a lot going on up here. And what are we going to do? All right. Well, I always start in the north in China, and you've got the red Chinese units here. They're both infantry armies, 30. Now, when the Chinese units split, they don't split into thirds, they split into halves. All right, so just keep that in mind. But really up here with the red Chinese, we don't need to split them. These are very strong units. They're some of your strongest units in the game for the Chinese. So we're fine. The way this is set up right now is perfect. They're doubly dug in. All right. The only route for the Japanese to get back to Lanchao is up this road. It's too hard for them to go through the mountains. They can get up this way, and so we got to protect against that. But really, this road is key. Now, this is a town. It's Yan'an. All right. This will probably leave as an infantry army. They will be coming for it. We also have Cyan here, which is also very, the Japanese player generally likes to come take it. Now, I will say, I don't know that there's a hell of a lot of utility of them coming to take these. The real battle is right here in these hills to try to push down to Chongqing and Chengdu. And we've got to figure out a way to protect Chengdu and Chongqing. And because of that, I am going to split this unit because I don't care that much about Cyan, to be quite honest. Of course, I want it. If we can keep it, that's great. But it's just not that big of a deal. And so let's split this. Now, this unit is going to move back over here into these hills, and we're going to actually put this on priority repair. We need that to get better quick. This is already on an 8 of 15. My kind of general rule in China is anything under 50% I put on priority repair. So 8 of 15, no. 7 of 15, yes. Is that through years and years of testing? It is not. It is not. So don't, take that as some kind of gospel. That's just how I do it. I am actually going to leave Yan'an, and I'm going to move back here to make sure this unit does not get surrounded. All right. And then this is also hills. And so we're going to bring him down here. And he's 15 of 30. He's now 8 of 15. That's okay. I'm going to leave him on this side of both rivers. They can take Yan'an if they want. That's fine. I'm not worried about it. It's just nothing to worry about. I'm also going to start moving this unit back and over, and we can use the red Chinese to kind of, kind of block off there. I also want to get him in a little better supply than a 1. All right. So now we've moved those. All right. Now we've got a whole nother army, 15 to 30 here. We're also going to split that army, and we're going to start dropping these back. We're going to get them into the hills, and we're going to get as defensive as hell. Now that's a 7 of 15. Let's put that on priority, and let's move you into the hills, my friend. This one I'm actually going to go back 2 or 3. Yeah, I'm going to move him back here. Okay, now this unit, 15 to 30, we're going to split this one. All right, this unit, we're going to put, let's say there. This unit, we're going to put probably there. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay, that's how I want it. So that's 8 of 15, that's 7 of 15. We'll do a little priority there. All right. Now this unit's a 20 of 30. He's incredibly, this is one of your stronger units out here. And we really need to get him down here to protect Chungking. All right. So we're going to have all of these units that we've now kind of spammed out here, and we're going to get this guy going directly backwards as fast as we can to try to block this Japanese advancement back here. You've got a cavalry unit here. I like to bring this cavalry unit up here on the plains where he's actually effective. And so we're going to bring him up to protect Chungking. You also have this infantry army here. We're going to, in Chungking, we're going to split that out. And this unit, we're going to take down here. How far though? How far can you go? Oh, you can get all the way down there, my friend. Okay. Okay. We're going to put him here for now. This 12 of 15, that's looking good. And we're going to take this unit and move it out, let's say here, and we're going to take, okay, that's the cavalry unit. Then you also, and this one is just in bad shape, you also have this double army, and let's actually not split those two for now. And if I hit Alt and right shift, they'll recombine, I think. Yeah, should be. Let's do this again. Combine. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to move them a little, start moving them out a little bit. Cheng 2's way back here, right? You can move these units up. He's gone there. He's down. I'm tempted to bring him down here, but I don't think I will. 12 of 15's looking good. We'll eventually put this in here, and they'll trade places. This guy is 15 to 30. We're going to split him. We'll leave the 18 a little further up here. Yeah, we'll leave him up here. There we go. Okay. The 7 of 15, we'll do priority. We've got this guy coming up to defend behind him. We could even back this guy up a little bit. I don't want him to get across the river. Eh, let's put him there, actually. Okay. So that's good. We got this line here. This guy could always back up to. I was just did want him to get into this hex and keep this guy from getting down here because I like to put him right there. We've got the Flying Tigers out here. Now, they're definitely going to need to be on priority repairs, and we're going to take them to Chongqing. Changsha is still within their boundaries here, but now they just protect a hell of a lot more stuff. And so they're going to be up, and they're going to be on bomb unit mode. They can get in here and do air power and help with our air superiority. Okay, we have a command unit. Where do we want to put that? Well, it's a great question. So hold on. We've got 15 of 30s out here. We don't have great units out here just yet. We've got this one. It's also a 15 of 30. Now, I can tell you out here, you're going to want to hold this with infantry armies, okay? This guy, you're going to want here, all right? This guy, you're probably going to split. He's a 10 of 30, he's a 10 of 30. We're going to split them, all right? He's going to move as far back here essentially as he can to get out of the way. How far can you go? Not far enough because this unit's going to back up, back that thing up. Now he's not. That's a double. Let's hmm hmm he's 10 of 30, he's 10 of, you've got so many weak units here. The headquarters, I'm going to move back behind the river. He's still going to command the same amount of stuff. This guy will move here for now, and he's going to be on priority repair. This is a 5 of 15. He's incredibly weak. That's also a 5 of 15. We'll try to repair them as fast as we can. He's going to go there. He's going to go there for now, but we're going to try to scoot them out. This 10 of 30 will just back up here on this hill. This 10 of 30 will bring around there. We're just trying to build around Changsha as much as we can. And so, we'll try to plus him. We'll try to plus him. Now, I know I've got a lot on priority repair here, but in some respects, you just don't have a choice. Now, how do we protect this little area out here? We're going to move the headquarters over here. We're going to move this guy into the first level of hills right there. We'll move this guy into the second level of hills. Again, they're 10s and 30s, so we'll put them on priority for now. This guy, we're going to back up. But which way? Now he's 20 of 30. I like that. Let's split out another unit. Let's move him there and let's move him up here. This guy is only 15 of 30, but that's okay. Let's put this guy here and move this guy up into the hills. He's going to be our strong force up here. That all looks good. He's going to back up to there for now. This guy's a 20 of 30. Let's split him out. All right. And we can bring him there. And this guy will move here and we'll bring the headquarters down into Kunming. I love to use those headquarters for sitting in the main town. They're defensive and they're good defensive. I'm going to move this guy out here right on the border for now. All right. 10 of 30. This guy can actually move back. Now we could come up here and take Zhenyang. Why don't we just do that really quickly? We'll see if he responds to that at all. It's not that important, but I kind of like to just sit in here for a turn or two. We may, get out of here, but we may distract him from the main goal, which is Changsha. Now you see we've got our main supply, Kunming. We're building up these defenses, and we have more that can come back, right? I mean, there's a lot more that can come this way. What is this? Forest? Forest. Okay, we're up on a hill. We'll take that. This is also forest. Uh, we probably need to move something up here. I could. Let's think about this for a minute. Instead of going down here, I could, yeah, I kind of like that though. Let's be a little aggressive right at the start. We'll get down here in Zhangjiang and we'll see if he'll just allow us to do that. This unit could, this is the unit I was thinking about. We'll move him right up here to protect there. Or do I want him there? Let's back that up. Let's do it here, actually. There we go. Okay. That all looks good. That's China. That's China. That's how I like to set up China for the most part. You're defending there, here, but we're doing it out here. And here, the red Chinese are generally very, very good about holding that off. Now let's go to our unit reports and let's do by type. And let's make sure that, okay, we know where the Hermes is. It's in Colombo. The Enterprise and the Lexington are going to sit at Pearl. We know that. The Revenge is at Singapore. It's at the bottom of the ocean. Well, it's bottomed. It can't move. Prince of Wales, that's Colombo. Um, oh, that's not true. Revenge is at Colombo. Repulse is at Singapore, bottomed. These guys will either all be at. Oh, that reminds me. Okay, we need to go do Pearl Harbor. Jiminy Christmas, what the heck's wrong with me? We need to get every one of these that's damaged. So let's get off of all of them. And then let's take everyone that's severely damaged. So like ones and twos. Oh, the Maryland's bottomed. Shoot. Okay, the California. Those are the main three, right? That are really hurt. They're down to a one. The Oklahoma, Nevada, and California. Okay, let's get them the hell out of here to San Francisco. And we'll go put them in port to San Francisco. Um, there they go. All right. So now if you look, we've got the California, Nevada, and Oklahoma all in San Francisco, and they'll just sit there till they're repaired. It's better protected there. I mean, I do not expect to be getting attacked at Pearl Harbor again. But if you were, at least you've got those really damaged battleships out of there. It'll take a while. I mean, it'll be mid 42 before they're completely repaired. But we've got to start. Now, the Arizona's still alive, a 3 of 4. I could get that out of here too, I guess. And the Tennessee, they're both a little hurt, but we're all right. We're all right. The air unit is going to be bomb naval, but it's going to be on full support. Actually, let's do that on mission only this time. Um, is that true? No, let's actually do full support. That way, if there is another bombing run that comes in, it's going to help protect the carriers. We also then have destroyers and cruisers and a sub here. Now, the destroyers and the cruisers, we're just going to leave alone. We got to let that clear the area first. But let's just pick the sub. That'll be the swordfish. All right. Let's put that in raider mode. All right. Let's back up and kind of figure out what we want to do with this. We can't get in the Japanese convoy lanes yet. It's too early. Your subs will get absolutely torn up if you do that. I would like to maybe come out here and protect a place like Pago Pago. It has a range of 3, so if some transport ship landed there, we could attack it. Was that Pago? No, that was Canton. My goodness. Maybe down this way, and we'll eventually make our way to Suva. I think that's the way I want to go. And I also think I'll do it this path. And 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right. So let's actually do it like there. And if we get into a scrap with that sub somehow, it could potentially help. But we're going to eventually bring this around to Pago. I think with that, that's our entire turn. I mean, you can keep going. What I do is I just go down here and I think about where every ship is. Now, early on, most of these you kind of know where they are off the top of your head. I always like to go look at the subs, and we know that the Pike and the Skipjack are both at Townsville. We brought them in there, and we just moved the Swordfish. So I think with that, I'm going to call it an episode. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. That's how I like to set up on turn 1. I've now played this game about 10 times, so I'm starting to get a real feel for how these things move about and where they should be. So that's great. So anyway, this has been Strategy Gaming Dojo. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I will continue on, and hopefully our opponent will as well. Again, thank you so much. Have a good one. I'll talk to you later.